Hello everybody, this is MoChat, and it is October the 16th, 2016. It is almost 1:30 in the afternoon. Alright, it is Sunday and I am being lazy. Today is a lazy Sunday for me. I have to go back to work tomorrow and I am just really milking this Sunday for every bit of peace I can get. Okay. This is your earthquake info time, and I really want to pay attention to what's going on in our ring of fire, because that's what I can do. Have you heard about USGS and the EMSC pages for any earthquake information going on around Wyoming, going on around Italy, Montana, any of those areas? EMSC is down. When we go there, we can't get the pages to come up. It will not show us what's going on. There have been reports of earthquakes, but we can't tell you exactly where or how deep it was, or any results from it, or anything. We just can't. There's no information coming up. The page says it's down, or their servers are blocked, cannot be found. So what is going on with that? Could it have something to do with the executive order that President Obama signed the other day? I hope you had a chance to look that up, where they're talking about the space weather effects and events coming from space between the sun and the earth that are having an effect on the earth. So could it be part of that? Are they changing things around? We'll see. You know we're going to keep an eye on it, because that's what we've got to do. So we'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens. Hopefully over the next few days the pages will come back up. Now, what I can talk about, I really want to get the word out to the people in Greece. You know, we're thinking about you. They have had some serious things going on in Greece. They've had repeated earthquakes there of 4.0 and higher. They also had a 5.5 earthquake there. In these little towns where there's not very many people living, but these earthquakes have been hitting for the last 24 to 48 hours over and over, sometimes 2 in an hour. All 4.0 or higher. Earthquake after earthquake, okay? Some of them deep, some of them shallow. So I would consider that to be a swarm of earthquakes going off in the area of Greece and a place called Cyprus and Redoubt and Turkey, as well as having some. So that area is really on alert right now. The other areas that are really concerning that we need to keep an eye on today is all the way from Peru, okay? And I'm talking about in our Ring of Fire area. Now get your map, you know what I'm talking about. The Ring of Fire. All the way from Peru, going up, headed north, keep going up, follow that northwest line coming around that Ring of Fire, all the way up. From Peru, okay, we just keep going up, stop in Baja, California, keep going up. All along the west coast of California, Oregon, Washington, all along there. Your Los Angeles, California, your San Francisco, your Sacramento, your Oregon, Lakeview, Oregon, still being hit. Washington, near Kennewick. These places on that coast are still being hit. If we follow along there, British Columbia, the areas really in Canada as well, all along that Ring of Fire, go up into your North Ring of Fire and around that Alaska, that Gulf of Alaska, there is a volcano over there. It's called Redoubt. Now remember, I told you I wanted to do a lot of keeping an eye on Redoubt and the other volcanoes there. One is called Pavlov and one is called Cleveland. These earthquakes are affecting these volcanoes. They have been hit repeatedly around there. With all of the talk about global climate change, global warming, the drastic differences in the strength of storms and things going off, with all of these earthquakes happening so close to these volcanoes, for instance, Redoubt had one on the 13th that was a 1.2, and it was only 0.8 kilometers deep. Very, very shallow, and it was less than a mile from Redoubt. Now, when you add all these together, they have had more than 9 in the past 7 days of just little repeat earthquakes, okay? Just little ones all around those volcano areas. And in that Aleutian Trench where it starts to come down and it starts to head on down southwest toward Japan, repeated hits, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9. It continues, okay? It just goes on and on and on. Even Venezuela down there, okay, the top of South America there, Venezuela, 4.3, 22 minutes ago. The Ring of Fire is active. That's all I can think. I mean, all the way around it, if you look all the way around it, earthquakes are going off, and they are very close to these volcanoes. There are many active volcanoes in the Ring of Fire. They're right there. Canada, my gosh, they have had tons. Wrigley, Canada, 4.1. Now, it's not exactly on our Ring of Fire, but there are volcanoes in Canada as well, okay? And they continue to be crazy. You see I've got my Mexico map, my Mexico flag. It's a beautiful flag. I absolutely love the Mexican people, the culture. I love the food. And those people down there in Mexicali and around where that volcano Colima is happening, it is still erupting. And that is in our Ring of Fire too. If you really want to talk about the climate change, I think we need to understand that these volcanoes and stuff sending ash and stuff into the atmosphere. When it goes up 4 to 5 miles, there was one that erupted back in 2013, right up there near that Redoubt. I believe it was Redoubt that went off in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. No, it erupted April 4th, 2009. Okay, that was just 7 years ago, right? Just 7 years ago. April 4th, 2009. But there was a swarm of activity of earthquakes before that thing erupted, okay? 4.6 happened. So, what can you say, okay? What can you say? And then on the 13th of January 2013, there was a 4.6 that struck there. And it was located just a few miles from Redoubt. Now this week, in the past week, they have had 2.5, 2.7, 2.2, what I would consider a small swarm going on, all close to that Redoubt. So could it happen again? Just like in 2009? What could happen again? I mean, it's only been 7 years. Has it had long enough to calm down? No, I don't think so. I think it could happen. Even dormant volcanoes that they say should not erupt, it's dormant. Colima was dormant. They claimed that that's a big surprise. Oh, it went off and it really shouldn't have. But it did, and it's still erupting today. stuff is still coming out of that volcano down there in Mexico. Those poor people, I feel so sorry for them. You know, I really hope that they're all right. But we can't guarantee that, can we? Because there are still earthquakes going on all around there. Venezuela was hit today. 4.3, 27 minutes ago. Right there. It is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And Peru, continuously more along that coast right there. And don't forget about Kansas acting up, okay? Oklahoma and Kansas still getting little earthquakes popping up everywhere. That one in Anthony, Kansas is near a fracking operation, okay? But I don't know if we can blame it all on fracking. I really don't. If you think about it, a lot of these researchers and stuff have been doing this for years. They have been studying earthquakes for a long time. And Kansas has had earthquakes before, and they did blame them on fracking. But can we really blame it on that? Or should we really be thinking about all these big earthquakes happening around the world? We have to remember that it's all connected. The fault lines and stuff all run from one place to another. They don't just stop. They are connected. So it's all connected around the world. And when you have so much pressure going on in areas and so much pressure going on in other areas, something is bound to give sooner or later. It has nowhere else to go. It has to crash into each other. It has to move. It's going to happen. So I think the more that we just keep an eye on what's going on, take a look at what's happening here, and then watch in the middle. Because those pressures have got to come together sooner or later. That's just what I think, people. That's what I think. And I do not want to predict anything, okay? I am not predicting anything. The only thing I am saying is what I see. That volcano, Redoubt, exploded, okay? The sucker went off 15 miles in the air, April 5th, 2009. And that happened a week after all of the earthquake activity, seismicity was occurring. And it happened. They sent a team up there and took pictures of it. It is online and you can see that. So, with all of the recent earthquake activity going on around there, it could happen again. We all know that if it happened once, it can happen again. Okay, that's just all there is to it. So I am keeping an eye on that Redoubt. I'm watching photographs of it and satellite images of that area. If I see anything at all, I will report back to you. Please remember, if you pray for the people of Greece. That's horrible. Just one after the other in the same spots over and over. They have had earthquakes. And I can't pull up any more information about it simply other than a list of them going on there. That's all I can get. I can't get any more. And that is going to my earthquake alerts. It's just absolutely amazing. It won't let me pull up anything else. That EMSC, every time I go to there, it just says no. No page. I wanted to point out a couple of more to you that is happening. West Bishop, California even had one 2 hours ago. A 1.5. Mammoth Lakes has continued to have them. New Zealand's having little aftershocks. I'm sure that's from that 4.7 and 4.9 that they had the other day. They're having small earthquakes, all ones or under. Those are probably aftershocks. Geyser, California. I almost said Oklahoma. Don't forget about that USGS warning that came out a few days ago. They were talking about Kansas and Oklahoma having earthquakes just like California. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, a very close eye on that. Argentina 4.4, that did happen 6 hours ago. So that is your earthquake info time. Don't forget to keep an eye on what's going on. You can pull these maps up for yourself, and you can read all about those volcanoes on the Ring of Fire. Just type that into Google and read about those, and you'll understand why I'm so concerned about that Redoubt. It did go off in 2009. I believe it could go off again. I really do. And I think every time that these volcanoes are throwing ash and stuff into the air, that changes our environment. It changes the atmosphere. Therefore, I believe that has a lot to do with climate change and the way that the earth is changing. Don't forget to check out the pages that I put in previous videos. You want to go and listen to the scientific data about the earth changes and the relationship to the sun and things going on from space. Be sure and read Obama's executive order about space weather events. I think it does have an effect on the earth, our climate, and these volcanoes becoming more active. This is Mo. I'll be back. If I find out anything else, I'll let you know about it. Thank you so much. Have a great Sunday afternoon. Bye.